So that okay, so I'm making you host.
Okay.
Okay, so now you are the host. Go ahead.
So I'll just
Yes, it is visible.
yeah. So hi everyone. So today we'll be discussing about the import-export trade, about some challenges that everyone do face when they are looking to start their own venture into import-export trade. So coming to first of all the challenges. The challenges faced while starting an import-export business. So the first and foremost challenge that everyone faces is which product to choose, or the which country to select, or where do I find the reliable data to do my research to select a particular product? Where do I find the necessary buyers, sellers? So I'll be discussing everything in this uh, presentation. So there's someone in the waiting room,
You can
Ansh
enter him.
Behel.
Yeah, he is our student.
So first of all, I'll be touching upon where do I get the reliable data and how do we use that data to choose a particular product and a country. So I'll be also showing how do you work on these websites also. So the first website is trademark.org. Second, indiantradeportal.in. Third is oec.world. Have anyone else worked on these websites earlier?
No, sir.
No. Okay, so I'll be telling you how to work upon these websites, and I'll start with oec.world. So this is oec.world. So as you can see, it shows import and export data on a wider aspect. So in July 2021, the imports done by the United States was $238 billion, while on the other hand, exports were $144 billion. And let's say if you're searching for any country, let's say we talk about Germany, for example. So from here, we'll search the country. Germany. So it's internet connection problem. Yeah. So when we talk about exports in Germany, so Germany, as you can say, 10.1% of the total exports cater to cars, and followed by vehicle parts at being 4.37%. And the biggest export partner for Germany is France, which computes to 7.97% of the total exports that Germany makes to the entire world. Then China 7.48%, followed by Netherlands 6.1%, and so on. So this would give you a overall idea of which sector a particular country is in actually, what percentage of exports and imports is mainly done by a country. Now coming to imports. Is into car import also at 6.45%, which is again the highest among all other sectors, and maximum imports of all the products. is from Netherlands at 9.15% of the 4%. So this data would give you a overall idea of what product, which country is into which kind of exports more, and which is niche sector in a particular country. So
You're not able to see the data which you are showing. We are seeing your presentation. Are you showing any data?
in this 10.1% is cars. So if we'll open the website oec.world on the laptop, then we'll be able to see everything.
Okay.
Like if you open the website and so over here we'll be able to search for the countries. Like if you talk about India.
Excuse me, Mr. Rishabh. Can you listen to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you share that OEC website on your laptop? Can you share that thing? Because we are not able to see
I'll just open it once again.
Yeah. No, we are seeing your presentation, but not what you are opening.
Oh.
You need to share your whole screen, so whatever you are doing, it will be visible to us. Currently, you have shared only your presentation.
We do that. Okay, this option of new share, right? Yeah, got it. So now is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible now. Good.
Yeah. So as you can see in this on this page, US have an import in July 2021 of $238 billion and exports being at $144 billion. In June, United Kingdom had a import of 43.8 billion pounds and exports at 29.3 billion pounds. And for example, if you're searching for any country, let's say we talk about India. So it will give you an overall idea of in which sector India does the maximum import and export, and to what all countries India is having a good import and export relationship with. So coming to exports, so as you can see, and we all know that India is into refined petroleum a lot. So as we can see, 11.9% is the total share of India's export into this sector only, followed by diamonds at 6.83% and jewelry packed medical medicaments 4.8%, jewelry 4.28%, and the list goes on. So there are many products like frozen bovine meat. It is at 0.89%, and see, as you can see, this export value is also written $2.94 billion. Or we talk about cars, $7.15 billion. In refined petroleum, it is $39.2 billion. And as we all know that the major trading partner of India is US, which stays at 16.8% of the total exports that India makes to the entire world, followed by UAE, China, Hong Kong. Now coming to the imports. Again, crude oil, crude petroleum, India imports a lot of, and the import stands at $92.7 billion, and percentage is almost 20%, 19.6%. India imports a lot of stuff from China at 15.3%. And on the second position, we have the US. So this website would give you an overall idea of what the country is into majorly in exports and imports and trade. So now coming to the second website, that is trademap.org. So just give me a product, any product. On the chat, please mention any product so that we can search here.
You can mention any product which you want to search on. Say
so we can pick rice.
If we can search it on jewelry.
Sorry?
Jewelry.
Okay. Okay, so it says, so it's based on HSN. So now we'll take let's say we take this traveling bags, shopping bags, jewelry boxes, and see if we want to check if the country is a net importer or an exporter of a particular product. So once we type the product name in this first tab, then instead of clicking here by typing the country, we need to click on trade indicators. Once we click it on this, one second. Yeah. So I'll make it to 300. So yeah, as you can see that US is having a negative balance of trade, which means that US is a net importer of this product. If we go on further detail, doesn't have, yeah, it's showing only till 6 HS code details. So yeah, US is a net importer again, Korea, France, Singapore. And if we look at, so it shows a positive balance of trade, which means that Thailand is a net exporter of this product. So if you have any plans of exporting bags to Thailand, so it would be a bad idea because it's already a net exporter. We need to focus on countries that are net importer of a particular product. Then you can see again, China is again an exporter, Vietnam, let me search for other product. Let's say rice. So yeah, again, Mexico is an is a net importer of this product. Brazil is a net exporter. In Brazil, you have this wild rice is very famous in Brazil. Brown rice, it's very famous in Brazil, and it exports a lot of it. In China, again, it's a net exporter of rice. United States of America, see, it's a very big exporter of rice. So, you know, people generally think that in US we can export almost every food grain, but it's not the case with the US. If we click on US, so we'll see. So it takes from Canada because of the same reason that it has a 0% of import duty from Canada. See, all this, the last column shows how much import duty is being charged from the particular country. And let's see, now if we change the change this product to saffron. Yes. So as we all know that saffron is found in Spain, and Spain is a, as you can say, net exporter of saffron. Then India is a net importer of saffron again. So if we click on Spain, so we'll know all these countries are supplying to Spain. As we can see, out of $29,000, that's no, all these figures are in $1,000 already. So 29, this would be $29 million, out of which $26 million is being supplied from Iran, which accounts to 90% of the total Spain's imports. And the import duty charged is 4.3%. From Afghanistan, it's a 0% duty because of some agreement. It must have a free trade agreement. Then Greece accounts to 2.9%. So by this, you can see how much, which product you can pick, which country to select, what is the import tariff in that particular country. So it would give you a brief idea of which country to pick and which not to. Now coming to the third website, indiantradeportal.in. So again, if we pick saffron over here, so this is the HSN code for my product. And if we're planning to import it, so we click on import. So this is the 8-digit HSN code for our product. Click on next. Now here we need to pick a country from where we are planning to import it. So we click on SARC, and let's say I'm importing it from Afghanistan. So as I click on Afghanistan, so you can see all the free trade agreements. It comes a free trade agreement, SAFTA, DFTP, MFN. So if we're importing it from a country that has only MFN, let's say we click on Australia for the same product. So it means that you will be charged the same import duty that other countries charge from you. If it's not under free, whereas in case of Afghanistan, it's under free trade agreement. So click on next here. So you see this freely importable tag. So once we click it on this, so we'll get to know if the product is freely importable in India or not. So as you can see, policy free, import permitted freely, it's mentioned, plus some chapter notes if you wish to refer to for a particular product. As you can see, under free PTA, it says 0% import duty. It's mentioned clearly. And if you look at the GST and other levies, so you can see a 5% import, 5% GST rate with description as this. Or if you are importing a seed quality, all goods of seed quality, then you don't have to pay any GST on that. So coming back to the slides. Are the slides visible now? Are the slides visible now?
Yes, sir, they are visible.
Okay, so yeah, as I have already told you that prefer a country that is a net importer of a product and not a net exporter. For a startup, I would say choose a neighboring country to start with, or a country with a free trade agreement, because it would give you an added advantage over other countries. And the only thing is that you would know that Indian products are going over there in that country, or India is importing from that country. So only thing you need to be worried about is the Indian competition. So now coming to the Incoterms. So we have XWorks, FCA, FAS, FOB, CFR, CIF, CPT, CIP, KP, DAT, and DDP. So I'll be explaining them one by one. So what happens in XWorks? Let's say if I'm a seller and you are a buyer. So and our terms of dealing is XWorks. So these Incoterms are not mentioned only, like only XWorks won't make any sense. So it would be either XWorks Delhi or some other place where your warehouse is actually located. So let's say my warehouse is located in Delhi. So I would say whenever I'll give the quotation. So I would give XWorks Delhi. This much is the cost, and in XWorks, the entire risk of the shipment is in the hands of the buyer. Once the shipment have left my warehouse, my responsibility is over. Excuse me, guys. So now second is FCA, free carriage. So if I'm the seller, so my responsibility ends once it has reached the ICD, that is Inland Container Depot, or the customs office. So my responsibility would be over, and so do my cost also. So let's say FCA could be FCA TKD, or the customs office in Mundra port. So third Incoterm is FAS, free alongside ship. So this means that the goods have reached the port and has been kept near the ship. So once the goods have been kept near the ship, my role is over, and so do my risk and responsibilities. Whatever happens now is on the buyer. So I don't have to do anything, because actually there was a case study. Like so the Incoterm mentioned was FOB, and there was a confusion between a buyer and the seller that what FOB actually means is once the goods have been loaded into the ship, then only then the responsibility of the seller would end. So what happened was, so the goods were in the conveyor belt and were going into the ship. So the 30% of the shipment was loaded already, and 70% was still on the conveyor belt. And conveyor belt broke suddenly, and the entire shipment went into the sea. So there was a conflict between the buyer and seller that since it wasn't on the ship, so you need to pay me the entire for the entire shipment. Whereas the seller said, "Why do I pay you the any? Why do I pay you anything?" Because the term was FOB, and he wasn't really sure about what FOB actually means. He was confused between FAS and FOB. He was saying, "Why should I pay? I have already delivered it on the ship." So the court said that since 30% of the shipment was on ship, so the seller would be liable to pay compensation for 70% of the shipment, since it was his responsibility and his risk. Now, coming to CFR, that is cost and freight. So this means that the cost would be incurred by the seller only for the transport also now. Like, for example, if I have to send the shipment from, let's say, Nhava Sheva to CFR to the name of the German port, and I would be paying the cost of the transportation. The shipping cost would be borne by me, but my risk would end at the free on board thing, and rest everything depends on the contract, because if in the contract it's mentioned that in case anything happens on the ship, so the seller would have to pay the entire damages. Then the seller would be paying the entire damages. But in this CFR, his responsibility would end at no, one second. I just sorry. In case of CFR, the responsibility would stay with the seller once until the goods have not been delivered at the destination port. In CIF, only insurance part is added, rest everything remains the same. Like if I have said CIF to some German port, so my responsibility won't end until the goods have reached the port. CPT. So this Incoterm is mainly used in a air transport, air cargo kind of setup, where the goods are being, where the risk of the uh, seller ends once the goods have reached to the seller, to the buyer's country ICD. Let's say if I'm importing saffron from Afghanistan and I want the delivery in Delhi. So the seller's responsibility would end once the goods have reached to the Delhi ICD. Until then, he would have to bear all the risk and costs. Then comes carriage insurance paid to a named place. So it means that the carriage insurance paid to the named place. So in this on, it's same as CPT. Only thing is the insurance part adds up to it. Rest everything remains the same. Then comes the DAP, delivered at place. Uh, so again, it's the risk of the seller lies till the goods have been successfully delivered to the ICD of the destined country. Delivered at terminal, so it means that the goods would be, the risk lies with the seller till the goods have been delivered to the final destination or the final terminal. And in all the above Incoterms that I have told you, the seller pays the is for the export duties, and the buyer pays the import duties. When it comes to DDP, that is delivered duty paid, so it's like a doorstep delivery. Like what happens in X works thing gets reversed in the case of buyer. So now the entire risk would be carried by the seller. He would be paying the import duties too in the destination country, and would be doorstepping delivered, and would be delivering it to the buyer's warehouse. Sorry guys, 1 second. I'm having a really bad throat today. So next slide. So now we'll be discussing about the payment terms that are being used in the international trade. First method, consignment. As the name suggests you that it's on the payment is made on the consignment basis only. Let's say if I have imported 100 kgs of saffron from Afghanistan. So once I have sold the entire 100 kgs and I have received the payment, only then I'll be making the payment to my exporter in Afghanistan. Second method is open account. In this method was used earlier, but not anymore, because this method was used only in that case when the buyer and seller knows each other personally, or they have very good trade relationships. And in this you can say कि जब मन होता है तब they can pay. There is no bindation of paying. They can pay at their own will whenever they want to pay. Then third, LC. It is the most commonly used mode of payment in the international trade, and it is it is very beneficial for the from the exporter's point of view, because in this banks are involved, and you have a safety of payments, but not in the case of TT, telegraphic transfer, or we can say advance payments. Like what happens when you're dealing with Iran, or let's say for any other, if you're working with a client for the first time, then you would want the safety of your payments. So in that case, you would be going for the advance payments or telegraphic transfer. So now I'll be telling you about types of LCs. So first is revocable and irrevocable LCs. So a revocable LC is one that can be revoked at any point of time, whereas irrevocable LC is one which if it has been made, so it can't be revoked, it can't be cancelled. Then second is transferable and non-transferable LC. So this transferable LC is most commonly used because if you have a export to consignment to be made, so let's say you have multiple jobs in a particular consignment. So what people do is, once they have received the LC, they transfer it to the people from whom he needs to get the work done to get the order completed. So on this basis, people are able to do the work, and export also don't have to face any problems of the cash. And second is non-transferable LC. It means that the LC can't be transferable to other people for getting the job done. So next is deferred LC. So in what happens in the deferred LC, as the name suggests only, that payment is deferred with respect to the job done. So let's say if you have completed a 20-25% of the order, so you would be entitled for a particular portion of the payment. Let's say if the contract says once you have delivered me the 25% job, so you'll be entitled for 10% or 15% of the payment. So this is how it goes. Confirmed LC. So confirmed LC is an LC that has been confirmed by some other bank, or it has been guaranteed by other bank. So next is site and usance LC. Site LC is it means that once you have presented the documents to the bank, then you can get your money from it. But in case of a usance LC, you get a particular period after which only you can get your amount. Let's say if usance period is like for 3 months, so you will be getting paid only after the 3 months from the date of issue of the LC. So coming to the documentation required for LC: financial documents, transport documents, and commercial documents. So when it comes to financial documents, you need a bills of exchange. We all know what a bill of exchange is: a promissory note, a trust receipt, or a delivery order. So this is a list of documents that you generally need for a LC. Now the transportation document: a bill of lading, an airway bill, air consignment note, postal parcel receipt, truck receipt, or a railway receipt. So this truck receipt, railway receipt, postal parcel receipt, it generally happens in a multimodal transport. When let's say if I have to send something from Delhi to Nhava port, so I have to send something from Panipat, let's say, and my registered office is in Delhi, and I have to it's a LCL type of shipment. So I'll be using a truck receipt, railway receipt, and a postal receipt, because I'll be getting something from through courier, something would be coming from truck, and once I pack everything together, then I'll be sending it through a rail mode of transport. So there I'll be needing a rail receipt, actually exporting it to the final destination. The bill of lading is issued by the shipping lines only. The commercial documents that would be required: it's a commercial invoice, a packing list, and insurance certificate is actually not mandatory, but people generally take an insurance for their own safety. CO, which is the certificate of origin. This certificate you can get it from any of the Chamber of Commerce's. Inspection certificate, weight note, and the certificate of analysis. It's majorly for any product that requires a certification, like in case of saffron. So we focus on mainly 3-4 components while purchasing the saffron, and we also get it checked at our own end. So in these cases, if the reports does not match, or there are a lot of deviations, if the deviation is up to 2 or 3%, then it is acceptable, because if you get the stock checked from, then only then also you face a difference of 2 to 3% easily. And another thing I would like to add in the end, that if you're planning to start your own business in import export management, in import export, first and foremost thing you need to do is become a member of an organization. For example, I'm a member of FIO, Federation of Indian Exporters Organization, and this website, can I just share with you? So this website, Indian Trade Portal, is designed for FIO only by IIFT. So this website keeps on updating on a daily basis. So you can always refer to this website whenever you have any doubts regarding if the product is freely importable or not, what are the GST and other levies, or what are the other rules that you need to follow to import from a particular country. So This you can easily study. And one more thing, agricultural product, because sometimes due to this only, your shipment might be stuck at the custom office only. So keep a note of this thing. So that would be all from my side.
Okay, students, if you want to ask any question, you can ask. Any queries you have, you can ask question. Okay, I guess no queries. Okay, so I'd like to thank Mr. Rishabh Jain for giving your time to our students from international business specialization. It was nice engaging lecture, and in the starting I also learned few things like OEC and all, which you were telling about, the info terms which we have covered in the class, but how you are using it practically, it was actually needed for the students. And I hope they have learned many things from your lecture. And on behalf of APG School of Management, I'd like to thank you once again for giving us your time. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Rishabh sir, you can leave the session. Students, you should remain here for attendance and all.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. No, 1 minute, Rishabh ji, hello. Can you
Yes,
make
sir.
me
I
can you
just assigned you, yeah.
can you make me host?
Yeah, I was
Otherwise,
just